Admiral Kethvar of the Zephyrian Dominion gazed through the viewport of his flagship, the Cosmic Devastator, at the small blue marble suspended in the void. Earth, home to the species that had dared to refuse the Dominion's generous offer of subjugation. "Status report," he commanded, his forearms folded behind his back in the traditional pose of Zephyrian authority. "Fleet positioning complete, Admiral," reported his tactical officer. 2,000 ships in perfect formation. The humans are completely surrounded. Their primitive vessels number fewer than 50. Kethavar's mandibles clicked in satisfaction. The humans had been warned. 3 solar cycles ago, the Dominion had transmitted their ultimatum: surrender unconditionally or face annihilation. The response had been unexpected. A single message, broadcast on all frequencies: "Come and take it." Now, as Kethavar observed the pathetically small human defense fleet hovering near their planet, he almost felt pity. Almost. The Zephyrian Dominion had conquered 47 star systems. No species had ever survived their full military might. "Open communications with the human fleet," he ordered. The main screen flickered to life, revealing the weathered face of a human male wearing what appeared to be a primitive military uniform. Gray hair, steely eyes, and an expression that suggested he was utterly unimpressed by the overwhelming force arrayed against his world. "I am Admiral Chen of the Terran Defense Force," the human said without preamble. "I assume you're here to discuss terms?" Kethavar's translator implant struggled with the human's tone. Was that amusement? "I am Admiral Kethvar of the Zephyrian Dominion. You are outgunned 2,000 to 1. Surrender now, and your species will be granted the honor of serving the Dominion as laborers. Refuse and—" "Yeah, we got your message 3 years ago," Admiral Chen interrupted, leaning back in his command chair. "Thing is, we've been a little busy since then." "Busy?" Kethavar's mandibles twitched in annoyance. What could a primitive species possibly accomplish in 3 solar cycles that would matter against the might of the Dominion? Chen smiled, an expression that somehow made Kethavar's exoskeleton crawl. "Well, for starters, we've been wondering why you folks took so long to get here. I mean, our long-range sensors detected your fleet when you were still 50 light-years out. That's some pretty slow traveling for a supposedly advanced civilization." The Admiral's tactical officer whispered urgently in his ear. "Sir, our intelligence reports indicated they had no faster-than-light capability 3 cycles ago." "Then we learned something interesting about your technology," Chen continued, as if he'd heard the exchange. "Your ships use quantum tunnel drives, right? Very sophisticated. Also very predictable." Warning klaxons began blaring throughout the Zephyrian flagship. "Sir," the tactical officer's voice cracked with panic, "we're detecting massive energy signatures throughout the system. They're everywhere." On the main viewer, the stars began to move. What Kethvar had initially dismissed as distant stellar bodies were revealing themselves to be something else entirely. Massive structures, each one larger than a moon, emerged from behind planets, asteroids, and what he now realized had been sophisticated holographic camouflage. "You see," Admiral Chen explained conversationally, "humans have this thing about being told what to do, especially by folks who threaten our families. So when you gave us 3 years' notice of your arrival, we figured we'd use that time productively." The tactical display showed impossible readings. Hundreds of massive installations were powering up throughout the solar system, energy signatures that dwarfed anything in the Zephyrian database. "Impossible," Kethvar breathed. "No species develops such technology in mere solar cycles." "You're right," Chen agreed. "Normally it would take decades, maybe centuries. But you know what really motivates human engineering? Being told our children will be slaves." The first installation fired. A beam of coherent energy, wider than a Zephyrian dreadnought, lanced across space and struck the Dominion fleet's outer perimeter. 50 ships simply ceased to exist, their atoms scattered to the solar wind. "We call them orbital defense platforms," Chen said, his voice carrying over the comm as chaos erupted throughout the Zephyrian fleet. "Funny thing about human manufacturing, we're really good at mass production when we're properly motivated." More beams fired, each one precisely targeted, each one eliminating entire squadrons of Zephyrian vessels. The aliens' energy shields, capable of deflecting the weapons of 47 conquered civilizations, proved utterly inadequate against humanity's hastily constructed but devastatingly effective defense grid. "How?" Kethvar demanded, watching his magnificent fleet being systematically dismantled. Your technology was centuries behind ours. Was being the operative term, Chen replied. See, we took some inspiration from your quantum tunnel drives. Reverse engineered the principles from your own scout ship's engine signatures. Then we applied some uniquely human engineering philosophy to the problem. Another volley from the defense platforms eliminated the fleet's left flank entirely. And what philosophy is that? Kethvar asked, his voice hollow as he watched 2 millennia of Zephyrian military supremacy crumble around him. Chen's smile was sharp as a blade. If you're going to build a weapon, build the biggest damn weapon you can, then figure out how to build it bigger. The tactical officer reported in a breaking voice, Admiral, we've lost 70% of the fleet. The remaining ships are requesting permission to retreat. Retreat? Chen's voice carried a note of mock surprise. Oh, I'm afraid that's not really an option anymore. Space around the retreating Zephyrian vessels began to shimmer. More installations decloaked. Not the massive defensive platforms, but sleeker, faster structures that had been hidden throughout the system's outer reaches. Interdiction fields, Chen explained helpfully. Can't have you folks running back to tell your friends about our little home improvement project. Don't worry, though. We'll make sure word gets out eventually, properly edited for content, of course. The last of the Zephyrian Dominion's grand fleet died in the cold vacuum of space, their weapons having barely scratched the paint on humanity's defenses. This is impossible, Kethvar whispered as his own ship's hull began to buckle under the focused fire of a dozen human weapons platforms. No, Admiral Chen corrected, his image flickering as the cosmic devastator's systems failed around its commander. This is just Tuesday. You really should have asked nicely. The transmission cut to static as the Zephyrian flagship joined the expanding debris field that had once been the most feared military force in the galaxy. In the aftermath, as human cleanup crews began the long process of salvaging useful technology from the wreckage, Admiral Chen made a note in his personal log. Note to self. Send a message to any other alien civilizations monitoring our communications. Standard diplomatic protocol. Be polite, be professional, but have a plan to utterly annihilate anyone who threatens your planet. He paused, then added, also, remember to thank the engineering corps. They really outdid themselves this time. Outside his viewport, the stars continued their eternal dance, now a little safer for the small blue world that had refused to kneel.